7 Habits of Highly Effective People. 1. Be proactive. The first habit that Covey discusses is being proactive. What distinguishes us as humans from all other animals is our inherent ability to examine our own character, to decide how to view ourselves and our situations, and to control our own effectiveness. Put simply, in order to be effective, one must be proactive. Proactive people take responsibility of and control over their fate. They say things like, "I will find a solution to this problem." Reactive people's emotions depend on their environment, for example, the weather. They blame external circumstances instead of taking responsibility. They say things like, "It's the government's responsibility," or "It wasn't my fault." 2. Begin with the end in mind. Start with a clear destination in mind. Covey says we can use our imagination to develop a vision of what we want to become, and use our conscience to decide what values will guide us. The more realistic your mental picture of the action is, the better the execution and results will be. Covey emphasizes that our self-awareness empowers us to shape our own lives, instead of living our lives by default or based on the standards or preferences of others. Beginning with the end in mind is also extremely important for businesses. Being a manager is about optimizing for efficiency. But being a leader is about setting the right strategic vision for your organization in the first place, and asking, what are we trying to accomplish? Before we as individuals or organizations can start setting and achieving. Challenge yourself to test the principle of beginning with the end in mind by doing the following. The good news? Ownership is a habit that anyone can develop. And there's no better way to begin than T0. 3. Put first things first. In order to manage ourselves effectively, we must put first things first. We must have the discipline to prioritize our day-to-day actions based on what is most important, not what is most urgent. In Habit 2, we discuss the importance of determining our values and understanding what it is we are setting out to achieve. Habit 3 is about actually going after these goals and executing on our priorities on a day-to-day, moment-to-moment basis. Putting first things first means rigorously prioritizing. The important things, the things which bring you closer to your final goals, are taken care of first. The rest, the less important things, are dealt with later or delegated. Daily planning is often too narrow and short-sighted, and leaves not enough room for flexibility. Weekly or monthly planning gives a better big-picture perspective of your goals, and gives room to adjust the details as necessary and most convenient. Think preventatively to keep tasks from ever becoming urgent. To get things done, you need a productivity system that is 1. Coherent, aligned from top to bottom, from mission statement to next action. 2. Balanced, ensuring we don't let important parts of life stagnate and decay. 3. Effective, making time for important things and improving effectiveness over time. 4. People-orientated, built to improve relationships, not strain them. 5. Flexible, because no plan survives first contact with the enemy, and 6. Portable, if you can't keep it with you and keep it updated, you won't trust it, and you won't use it. 4. Think win-win. Habit 4 is about interpersonal leadership, inducing others to serve us through our willingness to serve. In order to establish effective interdependent relationships, we must commit to creating win-win situations that are mutually beneficial and satisfying to each party. Covey explains that there are 6 paradigms of human interaction. 1. Win-win, both people win. Agreements or solutions are mutually beneficial and satisfying to both parties. 2. Win-lose, if I win, you lose. Win-lose people are prone to use position, power, credentials, and personality to get their way. 3. Lose-win, I lose, you win. Lose-win people are quick to please and appease and seek strength from popularity or acceptance. 4. Lose-lose, both people lose. When 2 win-lose people get together, that is, when 2 determined, stubborn, ego-invested individuals interact, the result will be lose-lose. 5. Win, people with the win mentality don't necessarily want someone else to lose. That's irrelevant. What matters is that they get what they want. 6. Win-win or no deal. If you can't reach an agreement that is mutually beneficial, there is no deal. 1. Think about an upcoming interaction where you'll be attempting to reach an agreement or solution. Write down a list of what the other person is looking for. Next, write a list next to that of how you can make an offer to meet those needs. 2. Identify 3 important relationships in your life. Think about what you feel the balance is in each of those relationships. Do you give more than you take? Take more than you give? Write down 10 ways to always give more than you take with each one. 3. Deeply consider your own interaction tendencies. Are they win-lose? How does that affect your interactions with others? Can you identify the source of that approach? Determine whether or not this approach serves you well in your relationships. Write all of this down. 5. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. Communication is one of the most important skills in life. But most people never learned how to listen. Most people try to be understood first. They want to bring their point across so badly that they often ignore completely what the other person has to say or filter out selectively, hear only the parts they want to hear, misunderstanding the true meaning. Why does that happen? Because most people listen with the intention to reply, not to understand. Let's say you go to an optometrist and tell him that you've been having trouble seeing clearly, and he takes off his glasses, hands them to you and says, "Here, try these, they've been working for me for years." You put them on, but they only make the problem worse. What are the chances you'd go back to that optometrist? Unfortunately, we do the same thing in our everyday interactions with others. We prescribe a solution before we diagnose the problem. We don't seek to deeply understand the problem first. You can't come up with a solution before making a diagnose. To understand others, making a diagnose, you have to listen carefully and with empathy first. Then bring up a solution. You have to build the skills of empathic listening on a base of character that inspires openness and trust. Stephen Covey. Key lessons. Here are a few ways to get yourself in the habit of seeking first to understand. 1. Next time you're watching 2 people communicating, cover your ears and watch. What emotions are being communicated that might not come across through words alone? Was one person or the other more interested in the conversation? Write down what you noticed. 2. Next time you give a presentation rooted in empathy, begin by describing the audience's point of view in great detail. What problems are they facing? How is what you're about to say offering a solution to their problems? If you listen with the intention to reply, you're doing it wrong. Here is one example of a mom who listens with the intention to reply, that is, with a prescription before making a diagnose. To better understand how a thorough understanding helps in win-win negotiations, check out You Can Negotiate Anything. How to listen empathically. Empathic listening is active listening with the intent to understand. It's not about method or sympathy. It's about a sincere desire to help others by immersing ourselves in their hearts and their minds. It's 10% words, 30% sounds, and 60% body language. To get started, try practicing the following 4 steps in your next conversations. 1. Listen with the intent to understand, sense, intuit, and feel. 2. Reflect, show that you hear their emotions, you're happy, you're frustrated, you're sad. 3. Rephrase, show that you understand content and cause, because. 4. Restrain, get comfortable with silence, give the other person room to clarify, think, and unfold. Don't counsel until counsel is sought, and even then only when responses are rational. If responses become emotional, resume empathic listening. Allow silence and resist probing. It's too invasive, controlling, and logical to let others become vulnerable. If things get too painful, let them drop. Sometimes all that's needed is space and time. Continue if and when the other person feels ready. Habit 6. Synergize. By understanding and valuing the differences in another person's perspective, we have the opportunity to create synergy, which allows us to uncover new possibilities through openness and creativity. Synergy means that 2 heads are better than 1. It represents teamwork, open-mindedness, and creativity. Synergy leads to joint discoveries which would be much harder to accomplish individually. Each individual gains new and deeper insights through the interaction with others. Synergy is the creative collaboration we unlock by focusing the 4 human endowments, a win-win mindset and empathic communication on life's toughest challenges. For example, if you plant two plants close together, their roots will commingle and improve the quality of the soil, so that both plants will grow better than they would on their own. Synergy allows us to create new alternatives and open new possibilities. It allows us as a group to collectively agree to ditch the old scripts and write new ones. Without doubt, you have to leave the comfort zone of base camp and confront an entirely new and unknown wilderness. Stephen Covey. Synergy allows you to value the differences in other people as a way to expand your perspective. Sidestep negative energy and look for the good in others. Exercise courage in interdependent situations to be open and encourage others to be open. Catalyze creativity and find a solution that will be better for everyone by looking for a third alternative. Key lessons. 1. Make a list of people who irritate you. Now choose just one person. How are their views different? Put yourself in their shoes for 1 minute. Think and pretend how it feels to be them. Does this help you understand them better? Now, next time you're in a disagreement with that person, try to understand their concerns and why they disagree with you. The better you can understand them, the easier it will be to change their mind or change yours. 3. Make a list of people with whom you get along well. Now choose just one person. How are their views different? Now write down a situation where you had excellent teamwork and synergy. Why? What conditions were met to reach such fluidity in your interactions? How can you recreate those conditions again? Habit 7. Sharpen the saw. Sharpen your saw means improving the greatest asset you have, yourself. Spend some time to improve, sharpen, yourself in the 4 areas of your life every day. Physical, healthy diet, exercise and enough rest. Spiritual. Read, listen to music, meditate, spend time in nature, serve. Mental, read, write, organize and make plans, teach. Social/emotional, learn to understand others, serve others, volunteer. Without working on these main areas of yourself, you will stagnate, your saw will get blunt. Quick summary. To be effective, we must devote the time to renewing ourselves physically, spiritually, mentally, and socially. Continuous renewal allows us to synergistically increase our ability to practice each habit. Habit 7 is focused around renewal, or taking time to sharpen the saw. It surrounds all of the other habits, and makes each one possible by preserving and enhancing your greatest asset, yourself. There are 4 dimensions of our nature, and each must be exercised regularly, and in balanced ways. Physical dimension. The goal of continuous physical improvement is to exercise our body in a way that will enhance our capacity to work, adapt, and enjoy. Focusing on the physical dimension helps develop habit 1 muscles of proactivity. We act based on the value of well-being instead of reacting to the forces that keep us from fitness. Spiritual dimension. The goal of renewing our spiritual self is to provide leadership to our life and reinforce your commitment to our value system. A focus on our spiritual dimension helps us practice habit 2, as we continuously revise and commit ourselves to our values, so we can begin with the end in mind. Mental dimension. The goal of renewing our mental health is to continue expanding our mind. Focusing on our mental dimension helps us practice habit 3 by managing ourselves effectively to maximize the use of our time and resources. Social/emotional dimension. The goal of renewing ourselves socially is to develop meaningful relationships. Abundance mentality, and seek to help others find success. Not a day goes by that we can't at least serve one other human being by making deposits of unconditional love. Stephen Covey. Key lessons. 1. Make a list of activities that would help you renew yourself along each of the 4 dimensions. Select one activity for each dimension and list it as a goal for the coming week. At the end of the week, evaluate your performance. What led you to succeed or fail to accomplish each goal? 2. Commit to writing down a specific sharpen the saw activity in all 4 dimensions every week, to do them, and to evaluate your performance and results. Daily private victory. Aim for 1 hour per day, every day, for the rest of your life. Physical sharpness, exercise, nutrition, rest and relaxation. Mental sharpness, reading, visualizing, planning, writing. Spiritual sharpness, value clarification and commitment, study and meditation. Daily public victory. Doesn't need explicit time, but does need practice. Social/emotional sharpness, service, empathy, synergy, intrinsic security. We all know that the benefit of investing in these areas outweighs its cost. For those who are too busy to find the time to exercise, read or make space for thinking and meditation, the kicker is this: if you do not act on these activities, they will eventually act on you. Covey's prescriptive suggestions in each area are minimal but solid. Building even the limited activities below into your life will leave you happier, more at peace and more effective. For more detail, you'll find thousands of resources on Amazon and Google. That's it. How are you feeling? Excited? Energized? Relieved to have made it through an almost book-sized book summary? The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People is among the most impactful and practical books I'd yet read. If you're anything like me, at least one thing you read here today blew your mind. But to learn and not to do is really not to learn. To know and not to do is really not to know. Getting more from the 7 habits than a fuzzy warm feeling means putting principles into practice. If you want buy this book, click this link in description to know more. If you like this channel, please subscribe, comment, and like the video.